Spinning out on the first lap were number 25, Bruno Baptista from Brazil, and number 17, Devlin DeFrancisco of Canada. On lap 3, another Canadian, rookie Camille Laliberte, went off into the gravel and brought out the safety car. That ended his race. Likewise, coming down the straight on the second lap, Pedro Piquet from second place. While the lights of the experienced Markelov of Russia were also several drivers making mistakes, including number 13, Rodrigo Baptista. Board with Piquet, and yep, Piquet, I think, hit by the number 4. To say, well, what do I have to do to keep going? This is Norris's trying to be as quick as they can, and Daruvala goes round, and so too does Monroe, and he locks it up, and he's just a passenger at this point. Bang! Braked a little harder, he locked up, and Norris avoids him. Here's Daruvala. It's on his own, I think, spun round. That put DePero off, and he had looked like he missed a gear, or stuck in gear, and then, yeah, like Markelov, got on to, again, bouncing over these high curbs here in Christchurch and falling foul to them onto the grass and into the barriers, breaking the... Going off onto the grass, Piquet following him, and several other cars having to take avoiding action. Amazingly, Joe spun Piquet off, and so too Frenchman Timothy Beret. Another look at it shows just how close it was for Guan Yu Zhou. Major incident, Monroe in the number 40 smashing into the number 25 Baptista takes second place, but he couldn't catch Lando Norris. Daruvala going up the first spin, Brazilian Rodrigo Baptista in the number 13 on the wet grass. He rejoined. Here's what happened. Oh, and it's so simply just got a little too hot. Car oversteered from Montpellier, and he knocks into Monroe. Monroe trying to get back online behind the championship leader Habsburg, and Beret was there, notorious for going off. And yeah, Hanses just ran out of road. Off ahead, Habsburg. Oh, Habsburg's fault for sure. Habsburg recovers, but DeFrancesco, look, nowhere to go, and he's literally nerfed into the gravel trap. No fault of his own. And the championship leader coming together with Monroe. That meant that Markelov had to, and another spin. Oh, and off goes Mark. Yeah, he had nowhere to go. Norris just touched him. It was on 3. Just a little tap there, and DePero, that's all it took. We saw, but he was up to third for a moment. Norris round the outside, picks up a little dust. Oh, big! Rodrigo Baptista tries to avoid his cousin, Bruno, who came together with the man in front. That was Patak. Yep, there's Patak, and they touched just there. That sent Bruno round, and Rodrigo headed towards the gravel. And is his view of it. Oh, and sure enough, Bean had nowhere to go. Damaged car. Here's a look from Bruno Baptista's point of view, and sure enough, yeah. Oh, he overcooked it, did Hanses, had his eye on the man in front and just went very wide, and Dean is just overcooked it on the exit of the last turn, and that's all it. Baptista hit the side of Theo Bean 2016. But then behind him, Theo Bean hits. Then another incident between Patak and Beret. A racing incident, this one, no one at fault. They were stuck out on track. One more incident involving German Hanses and Laliberte, the Canadian, at the chase. That first, when they come together, Markelov spun round, damage to the car, and likewise to the front of his car. And another look at it. Markelov at fault, though he felt it out again. Likewise, fellow South American Brazilian. Daruvala from the second row. Oh, and a big spin. DeFrancesco leaves the door slightly open. Habsburg turns him around. And here's another look at the start. DePero is the big story, and comes alongside Markelov, and I think he kind of just crossed, and I think that kind of put him off. DeFrancesco turned around there for Habsburg to have a look, but as you can see from the angle that leads inside, Beret turns in on his normal line, and Hanses is there. And Hanses together with Markelov, his teammate, and that was the worst pick because it pretty much ends his hopes of winning the overall through just before this incident with DePero. DePero leaving Bean little room to stay on track, and that's why they came together. Was important. Sadly not making it at all. Patak. Portal gets it to it, John. Oh, goes wide and out. And that's how quickly it can go wrong. He's some work to do as another car goes off and flying into the dust and dirt as he goes through. Yeah, well, that's the corner I was talking about, Salvage, and he just got out of shape there, and I think he was just going a little too fast for his own good there, and as he came to the left-hander, ran at turn 1 here. You can see through the gearbox, up to 6 for a moment, and then dropping down 2-second gear as somebody else goes wide, and onto the dust for a moment, but recover. And I wonder, as we go on board as a replay, and ahead of him is the number 47, that's Kevin Anders, and he gets tapped there. So Anders, the American, alongside Neubauer, and as they dive into the next left-hander, yeah, Kevin is still there, and that's what unsided Neubauer and spun him round. No damage, I don't believe, to the Frenchman. And as you can see, just adjusts the mirror. Daruvala under pressure now from Anam Ahmed. And oh, they're both off! And they're both out of this race onto the grass. It looks as though Ahmed will get back out on truck and right suspension. Here's another look. And, well, to be fair, Daruvala just spun it round in front of Ahmed, and Ahmed just hit the side and therefore broke the system. Everybody's got to stay calm. And as I say that, somebody goes off into the dirt. It could be Armstrong. It is Armstrong. Armstrong is off. The man who won race 1, and they come. Jostling for position. And Armstrong again involved. And Marcus Armstrong. Now, let's take a look at the replay. Armstrong jigs to the inside at the hairpin. And nice and smoothly done, but Blackstock, I think, was still on the outside. Yes, he was. And that's where his wing was clipped. So more trouble for Armstrong. Here's Blackstock's view. Look, he just turns in, and really no real fault of Shelby Blackstock. He was just turning his corner. No, he's still in the thick of it. Oh, and round goes number 12. That's the boy from Brazil, from Sao Paulo. And Christian Hahn spins out, and so too does Nyar. Vadenathan got a perfect view of it. Cars going everywhere. But he just takes great avoiding action on board here with Simonyard. And yeah, he too on his own. So 2 separate incidents there at the same corner. But very important race 3, the last race here at Christchurch. And out goes the Russian. That's Nikita Oshkin. Yeah, he just outbraked himself. He was very wide with so many incidents. Here's another look. Blackstock, in fact, nudging the back of Andres early as they exited the last corner, and then as they weave to get position, Blackstock slams into the back of Andres, and that puts him out. So there'll be damage also to Blackstock's car, I'm sure. And that has brought us back to this situation where we will restart under acceleration towards the carousel. Boom! Hits the back of Vadenathan, damages his rear wing, and in the process goes out and damages the side of Harry Hayek. They're side by side as they exit the last corner, and they touch! Oh, they're both out! And is there damage to Armstrong's car? Well, he's not going anywhere. Broken right suspension. Harry Hayek. Well, here's what happened. Around the outside goes Armstrong, but quite rightly, Hayek kept his foot in, took the line, and let's just see, yeah, they touch, and really racing incident. No fault, certainly, of Harry Hayek. He was on his line. The session marred by a heavy crash involving Lewis Leeds of Australia. The stewards are investigating that start. 3 cars under investigation, including the poleman Thomas Randall, Daruvala and Hayek. The corner. Here's another look at Habsburg's start. Yes, you can see from the revs, he bogs right off the line. Away goes Piquet and Verschoor. And then Ahmed got a very good start. Leach gets ahead of Habsburg, as you'd expect, but then he touches Leach. Leach then touches Habsburg, and all 3 of them off and out of this race. And I would have to say that Enam Ahmed was the cause of the original incident coming round the outside. Not a lot of room there. And sure enough, comes together with Leach. Here's a look from Enam Ahmed. He did get a good start, but you can see, look, goes to the outside of Leach, behind Piquet, and you can see the water as he comes across just slightly. That's all it was. Touches Leach. Leach then touches Habsburg, and it's wrong. So that crash at the start, is somebody going wide there? That's Harry Hayek. American upside down. Here's what happened. He goes into the loop and just aquaplanes off. It wasn't that fast an accident yet. Just gets into the gravel. That slows him down even more. Here's another look. And just rolls gently to Harry Hayek in front of him. Also did the same. So the water is so bad that they're aquaplaning off. There's a big puddle that goes across the track there, and as conditions worsen in the Southern Loop in the previous race, here's another look at what happened. Lewis Leeds dives up the inside at the elbow. Well, he does like that move, doesn't he, Lewis? Corey Enders will soon find out. Here it is from Enders' point of view. Enders turns in on his line, and whoa, yes, very aggressive. Lewis leads up the inside, just taps Enders, and at the elbow, that's all it takes. Looking so good. Here he is coming into the elbow. Just gets a wheel on the paint there. It locks up the front right, and he runs out of road, quite literally. And what a show. But the rain has started to come in again, and oh no! Aquaplaning off goes Habsburg from second. The conditions getting worse and worse, and it's catching the drivers out. But let's have a look. Yeah, he goes over the puddle just there, and there is no traction whatsoever. And into the gravel at the southern loop. And really, Habsburg was just a passenger then, and he did. This is all about, and off goes the 26. That's Harry Hayek. Gathers it all together. Here's what happened. And he is still quite high and wide, but he keeps to the racing line. And as he exits, yeah, just gets a little slip there, but he also might have been unsighted by the number 47, that's Andres, who was Keyvan Andres. Here we are. Yeah, he was on the inside, and he lost traction well early, slid off the track. Christian Hahn goes wide at the exit of the southern loop, just got two wheels onto the grease and wet. Around the outside goes Daruvula. Leach is on the inside, Daruvula on the outside, and Leach hits Daruvula, and Daruvula is out of race one. Meanwhile, Randall, Leach going wide at turn two, and several cars off and into the gravel. After then, let's have a look at what happened to Daruvula. Well, Leach just tapped him from behind, but to be fair, Leach, let's have a look at his start, was on the inside, got behind Randall. It was a brilliant start by the Kiwi, and really he did nothing wrong. And that's just a racing incident. Here's Hayek's incident at turn two, Verschoor going up the inside, and he follows into the gravel, La Liberté and Habsburg. And behind him, Christian Hahn involved in another incident, Norbauer running out of road, they touch, Hahn goes off, Lestoshkin in front, and all three are out. And here's Randall at turn three. He comes out of two, gets a little bit of oversteer, and then, look, runs out of road, somehow gathers it all together, but that was a lucky moment for the Australian. Gathers some momentum, round the outside, he's gone very wide, and he has gone off the track and into the grass. He keeps his foot in, and Leach somehow saves it, just into five. Leach wide again, and into the gravel again. What a nightmare start by Brendan Leach. And very wide indeed goes Christian Hahn again. On board with Christian Hahn. Here's what happened. Yeah, he had, I think he was sighted by somebody on the inside, Hayek or perhaps on the inside. And this could be a really good opportunity for Ferdinand Habsburg. Here is the off with Vaidyanathan, and you can see it here. He comes together with, I think, Thomas Norbauer behind him. Just got a slight touch, but that's how quick it can go wrong here in the Toyota Racing Series. Here's a look at it from Norbauer's point of view. He did nothing wrong. He just dived into turn one, turning in, and yep, another racing incident. Armstrong's there. Piquet's through. Great racing. Oh no, Verschoor and Armstrong have come together. See, Armstrong is out of this race. Here's another look at what happened. Piquet goes through, and well, Verschoor, it wasn't intentional play. And Armstrong was very, very fast on the outside. Either way, of Corey Enders and Brendan Leach having a weekend he'll want to forget. And Enders just got out of shape at the exit of two. Then Leach hit the grass for a moment, and as he came back on, well, again, another racing incident similar to the Verschoor Armstrong moment. But to be fair, Leach just didn't brake in time and ran into Enders, who was a passenger by then. A third car involved. Piquet trying to hang on to a podium. He's gone slightly wide at five, and even wider now, and onto the dirt and into the dust he goes. As they come through four for the first time. Good start. Oh no! Drama at the back, and Habsburg involved. Let's take a look at what happened. Here's Cockerton's view. Habsburg has to brake earlier than he wants because Ahmed and Verschoor are right in front of him, and Cockerton has nowhere to go but over the top of Habsburg. Enders, likewise, hits the back of Hayek, and he too involved in this incident. Three cars out, probably damaged to several others. And look at Hayek taking great avoiding action. He's ever been on oversteer at a 9, and oh, up into the air goes Armstrong, and through goes Leach. And it looks as though he's pulled it off. And there you see 2 wheels in the air for Armstrong. He just got around the outside, but it is going to be Piquet from La Liberté. Randall's there. Piquet got off the line the best. And there was trouble at the back as well. And I think involving, yes, this man, Corey Enders. Yes, Simon Yao gets bogged down. And look, it breaks the suspension of Corey Enders. He can't catch a break, can he, the poor American? Well, another race that won't be completed by Corey Enders. Weidenathan gets hung out to dry by the American, Kevin Endres, and runs out of road, has to take to the grass, but recovers behind the Stoshkin. Collapsed wing as we go on board, and what happened? Yeah, he just gets tapped from behind by Cockerton. It's just not turning out. First time in 2017. If Randall can pull this off. And Cammy goes wide, and this is that opportunity I was talking about. A mistake by Cammy La Liberté last year, and we'll go back to the German F4 Championship. Oh no, La Liberté goes off at 4 and into the gravel, and I think he just took his eye off the ball there. He was looking at the back of Randall's. Happened, yep, sure enough, Hayek getting too hot through 9, and that spins him around on side, and the American keeps his foot in. Great racing again. Here's another look at the start. Armstrong did very well at the start, came across and just got in front of de Ruvela. Now here's what happened to Corey Enders. He jigs to the middle of the track and then hits Norbar and gets touched twice, and as you can see, the suspension's gone. Weidenathan's view of it, yeah, he just gets squeezed in there and bangs Habsburg, trying to turn around his weekend. He was involved in that incident, and Vachon goes wide. Oh, big battle. And talking of Aussies, here comes Randall on Habsburg. And oh, they touch for a moment there. And Piquet's ready to pick up the piece. Armstrong are pulling away, and I think Randall's getting frustrated. Well, he is getting frustrated. Look at that. Side by side for a moment. And they touch battles with Vachon. Not close enough this time. Oh, Vachon gets sideways. Somebody's got their motivation. Piquet coming off a poor season. On my side through 3. Here comes Leach. He's going to push on. The Dutchman goes onto the grass. Well, Richard, he's got it. And back on board, and that's too high and wide for Thomas Norbar, and he goes off onto the grass. As they're side by side, these two, and something's got to give. And Lewis Leeds keeps a foot into the touch. Oh, no! No! And what a disaster. Brendan Leach involved. 3 cars. Andres and Lewis Leeds come together, and Leach is launched into the air and pirouettes in a double somersault. Watch this. Oh, dramatic scenes. And luckily that Tatus chassis, very strong indeed. Here's what happened. He had nowhere to go. And then it's sky ground. And hopefully everybody out okay. Here's what happened again. Andreas just touching Lewis Leeds as he turned in. And Kvyat Andres and Lewis away past Hayek, but he can't get through, and Hayek, though, can't turn in. Hayek left high and wide, guts onto the marbles, gets oversteer, and off he goes. Harry, ball of dust. Here's another look at it. Watch, yeah, oversteer there, and I think he's just on the dirty part of the circuit, and definitely wider than he should have been. But then again, he couldn't turn in, but clean start. And it is going to be Richard Vachon. No! Randall goes off. Oh, disaster. Number 60 Armada, somebody else going off, and oh, big off. And that's Corey Enders out. Great work from the cameraman. Superb stuff. American from Houston. And here's what happened. Corey Enders going into turn 1, the Toyota curve. And he gets unsighted and just couldn't brake because he would have gone into the back of Weidenathan, I think. That was a big off. And then here's what happened to Christian Hahn. Yeah, he just gets sandwiched there, coming together, loses the front wing, and that tucks underneath the car. And that's what to a halt. Here we go again. Yeah, he touched the back of NM Armada. It might have given him a punch-up by the looks of things. Habsburg tries to take advantage, but in the meantime takes his wing. Cockerton saw it all. Oh, and Cockerton, Taylor Cockerton, to be a little too precarious. Here's another replay. Hayek just T-boning La Liberté, the Canadian. And La Liberté at Higgins. Off they go. And 6 of one, half a dozen the other. Hayek locked up. La Liberté was also not where he wanted to be, and they just came together. And to be fair, you've got to put the blame on Hayek on that one, because La Liberté was on Well, he was in the middle of the circuit, and Hayek just locked himself up. Habsburg definitely not going as quick as he'd like. Oh, and he almost banged into the back of him at the hairpin. Got good drive there. Now he's got a chance. He comes along the back wheel of Habsburg. They're side by side as they head down towards Higgins again. This would be unbelievable if he can pull this off. Cockerton's not done either. Randall round the outside at Higgins. Has he got the drive? He's there. He's right there. They're side by side. He's got him, has he? Just about. They touch for a moment. And Habsburg won't give in. And if he's going to do it, he's going to have to go all the way round the outside. But there's the checkered flag for Shaw wins. And he's going to do it. Randall takes fourth. Oh, what a way to do it. From the Indian. And here's what happened. Christian Hahn out on the outside. Leeds comes together with Simon-Yao on the inside, and then leads concertinas into Christian Hahn, and the poor Brazilian does a samba he wasn't expecting to do, into the barriers he goes. Very dramatic indeed. Here's Simon-Yao's view. Yeah, they touch. Leeds turns in. You'd have to put most of the blame on Leeds there, because Simon-Yao on